Yeah. So like energy security is like another topic which has gained a lot of attention over the past 2 years or 3 years, especially with this whole Russia-Ukraine crisis that we have. And India has been working towards developing a high degree of energy security. Like startups and government departments are working towards achieving a high degree of energy security. And like uh, just as per my knowledge, like however, one source which people don't talk about a lot in India is just like about nuclear energy. And Bill Gates, like at least in the United States, is working very hard towards privatizing nuclear energy. He has his own company, TerraPower. Like, what's your stance on nuclear power, and is it possible? Like, can we have a private nuclear industry here in India, just like the States?
So I'm glad you asked about nuclear energy because I think, I mean, I'm not an expert, but I'm a big, I think I'm a big supporter, I'm a big fan of nuclear energy for the simple reason that it's one of the greenest energies that you would find. It has no carbon footprint, and it can power your base load. Now when you're looking at energy, it's a technical term. But when you're looking at energy to power your electric grid, essentially supply to electricity to all our homes and factories. Uh, you have a base load which is more or less constant, and then you have these spikes depending on the time of the day or depending on weather or things like that, right? So the base load needs to be consistent. You always have to have some amount of load that's always available. Now, one of the biggest problems with renewables like wind and solar is that energy availability is not consistent. Solar is typically 4 to 5 hours a day. Wind can be 24 hours, but it's unreliable. I mean, it may just drop off for a few hours, then come back again, then drop off, then come back. And so they're a little unreliable. So even today, a lot of the base load is generated by fossil fuels. Even in countries that have a lot of wind and solar, like US, for example, there the base load is primarily used to be coal. Now it's more natural gas. Nuclear is ideal for that because you can keep it running at a steady pace for a long time and can I mean once powered nuclear reactors can run for years without too many issues with regular maintenance. So nuclear power is ideal from an energy security perspective, from carbon neutrality perspective. Now, there have been a few issues in the world over the past 4 or 5 decades that have created problems for nuclear energy. I think more in the minds of people and policymakers, more of a perception issue. There was this infamous 3 Mile accident in the US in 1978 when there was some radiation issues. Then, of course, in 1985, we had the Chernobyl disaster that everyone knows about. And most recently, in 2011, we had the Fukushima disaster. The Chernobyl, yes, created a lot of issues, but the other two, I think, got a lot of press, but didn't really create those many issues in terms of people getting affected by radiation or things like that. But accidents like these have created some fear in the minds of many people, and they have pushed policymakers against nuclear for a long time. And that's why last 2 3 decades the nuclear industry has been on a slowdown. I mean, after 3 Mile, a new nuclear plant was not brought online in US for last 40 years. uh, Similarly in Europe, for that matter. Now what has happened is, the West was pretty much thinking, the developed West was pretty much thinking that, we have natural gas, we have renewables, why do we need nuclear? And the Russia-Ukraine crisis has become a good wake-up call for the world that, the supplies of natural gas are not as easy or not as safe as we thought they were, because Russia is one of the biggest exporters of natural gas. So if that overnight disappears, what do we do? And then suddenly the world has again grown aware of nuclear as a safe Atmanirbhar option for their respective energy securities. So in that sense, nuclear is making a comeback. Obviously, there are technocrats like Bill Gates and many others who have pushed nuclear just because it's one of the greenest, as I said, one of the greenest solutions that's out there. If you handle the safety issues and waste issues very well. So I think nuclear is coming back. India also, it's coming back. We have moved a little slowly over the past, I would say, 20 years on nuclear in terms of making it. It's still a small percentage of our energy production. It needs to grow significantly more than what it is right now. Right now, we're under 5%. I think we should get to at least 10% in the next 10, 15 years in terms of the total installed capacity for India. So yeah, me personally, though not an expert, I'm a big proponent fan of nuclear energy, and I think it should play an important role not just in India but in countries around the world. I mean, I think the best example of being Atmanirbhar with nuclear energy uh, that you saw in the last 2 3 years is a country like France. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the world's number one country in terms of, I think, more than 50% of their energy comes from nuclear.
Yeah.
And they made this strategic call over 50 years back after the Second World War, when they realized that unlike UK, I mean, that time natural gas wasn't big, so coal was the biggest source for power for the longest time. Uh, and after World War II, I think they made a strategic decision when they realized that unlike unlike Germany and UK, the two closest countries, they don't have coal. Germany and UK have coal, but France doesn't have as much coal. So they made this strategic choice that if we want to be self-sufficient in energy, we have to go after nuclear. And they've invested a lot in nuclear in the 60s, 70s, 80s. And as a result, today, they are, I would say, world number one in nuclear energy. Clearly, in terms of percentage power that they derive from nuclear versus other sources.